Good morning, Life Point Church, and welcome back to the woods. This week, I thank you for joining me, and we're going to be talking about a lesson that is very relevant for today. And the title of our lesson for this week is going to be "To Do Justly." Now, in the Bible, we have a pretty good example and examples of what it means to be a just person, and that's what we're going to talk about this week. And I just want you to think about the relativity on how it is in today's society, how we should act, and probably the best example is how God treats us. He treats us very justly. He gives us favor, and let's just dwell on that for today. We're going to open up this discussion and talk about a tradition in the old time when a man and woman would be engaged to be married, and it's a bit different from what we're used to in today's society. In the first century, a Jewish man, when he wanted to marry a woman, would approach her father and would discuss a contract, and they would discuss an amount of money to be paid to her father, so he would be able to marry his daughter. And this contract was drafted and it was drawn up, and it was a covenant between him and her family. And when that was agreed upon, he would pay a certain price, and he would announce his engagement to the young woman after she also agreed. And it would be during that time that he would announce his engagement that he would go back to his father's house, and he would begin to build an addition on his father's house, and everyone would know that he was engaged to this woman, and he was being prepared for that, and he had a lot invested in this engagement, in this marriage already. He would be totally invested. He would have paid his money. He's now putting an addition on his father's house. His family knew that he would be engaged to this woman, and that this marriage would be taking place. It was a covenant. It was a binding contract that was to take place. And the woman and the man at that time, they would be bound by this contract to be married toward one another. So in that time, that's exactly what Joseph did. He approached Mary's father, and he paid a certain amount, and he was now engaged to Mary. So we find out in the Bible that Mary was found to be with child, and we understand during this time that would be a very devastating thing for Mary's family and for Joseph, what he was thinking. But the Bible tells us that Joseph was a just man. Joseph had a certain right in his contract to punish Mary, to dishonor her family, to discredit her, and he was by his own right able to do that. But the Bible tells us that Joseph was a just man, and in that contract he made certain decisions that we know that he wasn't going to make a public example out of her. So just for today, let's think about that for a second. Although we might have a right to treat someone a certain way, we say maybe our feelings are hurt or somebody betrayed us, we might have a certain right to be angry. And certainly when God, I think, looks at my life or looks at our life, we may say that, well, he has a certain right to punish us. And sometimes people feel like, well, God is just punishing me. But we know that that's not true, that God gives us favor and he gives us grace time and again. He shows us mercy, and he shows us what it is like to be just. And Joseph also showed that in his life. So as we go throughout this week, we're going to learn what it means to be a just person and what it means to have justice in our society today. Thank you so much for joining me for day one. Join me tomorrow for day two in the woods. Thank you.